What's going on, guys? I hope you are having a fantastic day. So the topic we're going to be talking about today, is it better to rip or buy? Is it better to open packs or just buy your chase cards? And there's a lot of ways we could go about this. In the thumbnail, I pretty much used the highly coveted Moonbryon and, of course, the Evolving Skies pack from which it came. This is a long time argument in the hobby. People should buy singles, they should save their money, but this has become more relevant now with modern cards, right? With modern cards and terrible pull rates and the amount of money you're having to spend, buying multiple boxes of a set just to complete that set or even pull that chase card, it's getting kind of ridiculous. Whereas back in the day, when you were buying booster boxes, you had a fairly good chance of pulling cards. Take WotC, for example, base set all the way up till Skyridge. You had a pretty good chance at pulling some amazing cards. All these booster boxes behind me are from that era. And basically, if you bought any of these booster boxes, you had a pretty good chance of pulling some really good cards. And even possibly pulling cards and getting them graded and then minting in a 10 and being exponentially more valuable. This was much easier to do and is still easier, in my opinion, to do than collecting modern and trying to pull those chase cards in modern. With modern products, I have almost never pulled my chase cards out of sets. The only sets I've really pulled chase cards out of, which is probably why I'm biased towards 151. But 151, I've had a really good experience with 151. It is a special set. It is slightly smaller. It is a lot easier to get your chase cards out of 151 than I think any other set in Scarlet Violet and Sword and Shield combined. I think that the value in that set and the set itself is just phenomenal. But anyways, and then there was Obsidian Flames. I got the Charizard card in Obsidian Flames, the Altar Charizard card in Obsidian Flames, which I'm not even that big of a fan of, but I was very grateful in Scarlet and Violet to have a little bit better pull rates than I'd had with Sword and Shield. I still open Sword and Shield packs up on the lives, on the channel all the time. I open up Evolving Skies packs every now and again on the lives. I literally never get hits out of these packs, like never. And it's just burning money. That's what it's like to open up modern and try and get your chase cards. I think Scarlet and Violet is way better about that. I think you probably have a better time opening Scarlet and Violet. I think most of the sets in Scarlet and Violet, the main sets, if you open a booster box case, you have a pretty good chance of completing the sets. But back in the day, you could probably open one box or two boxes and complete a set entirely. Okay? Times have changed drastically since then. It's gotten a lot harder to get your chase cards, and they're not even that expensive. So when it comes to modern, my honest opinion is, because I've been asked this a lot, and I've kind of always brushed it off as like, this is common knowledge, but sometimes these videos are good to make. I think with modern Pokemon cards, including Sun and Moon, Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet, all those eras, even prior to those eras, Black and White, X and Y, Aspen is being a little monster today. She's just being really, really fussy and screaming and shouting in the house. So you may hear her yelling in the background, as is pretty typical on this channel. I've literally lost track of what I was saying. With modern, it's very easy to get those chase cards and just buy them. Even in PSA 10, it's fairly easy. I'd say one of the most expensive modern cards that we have to date is probably the Latios from Sun and Moon. And in a PSA 10, I think it's like just over, $2,000. But the reality is that to buy a Pokemon Sun and Moon team up booster box that you would get that said card from, you're still gonna spend about $2,000, maybe $1,800, somewhere in that area. And it might not even 10 out of the box. So it's really risky, especially with American English print quality. It's pretty risky. So I highly advise against trying to open modern product. I do it on the channel. Occasionally, I did it with 151. I genuinely like 151. It's probably my favorite set, and I'm going to tout it as the best set of Scarlet and Violet, probably for the rest of Scarlet and Violet, unless they super surprise us. And then with the next coming sets, we'll see what happens. But it's an easy argument with modern. it gets a little sticky with vintage, right? And I'm going to point out an example that I saw this morning. I was scrolling on Instagram, and occasionally I see some crazy stuff. I see people pulling crazy cards from old vintage booster packs. And it's just nuts to me because I bought some of those cards for a premium and they're not even PSA 10. So with that, when we're talking about the earliest sets ever, right? When we're talking about first edition sets, it gets a little choppy. It gets a little more difficult, right? If you're buying a first edition booster pack, it's very risky. It's extremely expensive. I believe a first edition heavy booster pack, which by heavy, most people in the hobby know this, but if you're new to the hobby, it doesn't really work out as well with modern today. Some sets are weighable. People have covered content on sets being weighable. That's not really the point here. The point here is that modern sets might be weighable, not so much, but in the old days, in the EX, the e-reader era, and Wizards of the Coast era, if a pack was usually, and this varied a little bit between sets, but I know for base set unlimited, when I opened these packs, I was able to pick out what packs we're going to open from base set unlimited. I've got some heavy packs in there. By heavy, they're 21 grams instead of being like 20.5, 20.8, 20.9. You want them to be really over 21 gram threshold. And then there's a guaranteed holo in that pack because the holo foil weight is a little bit heavier than a non-holo foil rare in that pack. So it's easier to tell with these older packs. Way back then, I don't think people were weighing out packs. I don't know how soon people started weighing out packs. I don't know when that trend started where people actually weighed out their packs to find out what was inside. It may have started really early after the releases. People may have been doing it for a long time. I don't have enough information on that to know. Maybe some people can chime in. Hey, I've been in the hobby for 10, 15 years. We've always weighed out packs in the hobby. People have always tried to figure out what packs had the hits to mitigate some of the risk of, gambling and taking a huge loss on opening up those packs. But like I was saying, with base set, super easy to complete a set, super easy. Open up a box, you're gonna get a Charizard probably in every single box. You might even get 2 Charizards in every single box. And then right out of the pack, they're likely to 10. But again, that's another part of the argument is that even if you're opening, there's no guarantee it's gonna 10. But also buying a PSA 10 is extremely expensive for these older sets, especially first edition cards. It is an arm and a leg, and it's a good amount cheaper to actually buy them as heavy packs and take your chances there. There's, and this is not, advice to just rip open all vintage packs. Like buy heavy vintage packs and rip them open. That's the best way to go. But there's pros and cons. One of the cons is you're gambling, you're taking risks, and you could lose money on it. You could get burned on it pretty bad. You could get a PSA 9, and then, it's valued as a raw card. You're not getting that PSA 10 premium where opening that pack was so worth it. One of the biggest pros, though, is that you're going to have the experience. And I bring this up because I was having a conversation this morning. One of my buddies is going to open up every single Wizards of the Coast era packs. I don't know if they're going to be all heavies. I don't know if some of them are going to be lights, but they're going to open every single Wizards of the Coast pack. They're probably going to pull some pretty cool stuff. I'm just excited when we hit 5,000 subscribers. We're going to open one of those heavy base set packs. I was up last night late thinking about if it's a Charizard, I don't even care if it's a 9 or a 10 after it gets graded. I don't care. Just pulling that card myself out of a booster pack is an experience that I never had as a kid, and I'm excited to have that experience once again, or for the first time ever. We have opened up some vintage packs on here. It really wasn't sustainable. It was very expensive, so I stopped doing that, and I consolidated a lot of them at Collecticon. But since that time, I've thought a lot about how I gave up the opportunity for me to open up those packs on the channel and see what we would have gotten. So in the future, I might go to a convention and actually look for heavy packs and pick them out to open up on the channel. But for now, it's very risky to go after opening vintage packs, but the upside is that you have, the potential to get a PSA 10. If you're in it for the money, if you want to sell the cards, whatever, you do you. But you also might have the experience itself, the memory of pulling that card out of the pack. You can't compare it to buying singles. You just can't. With modern, There's product everywhere. It's just not that special. It's really not that special. So just buy the 10. That's what I did here. I didn't exactly buy it as a 10. I bought this as a raw card. You could do that too. Buy it as a raw single, then get it graded instead of wasting thousands of dollars to try and pull this card. I think Rattle Pokemon is a great example. Love his channel. He did us all the service and for science of opening, I think, 3,700 of these Evolving Skies packs to get that Umbreon. That's tough, guys, and that's a ton of money. That we're talking like over $10,000 likely to make that happen, or maybe less. I don't know what his connections are like, but regardless, you know, that's a perfect example showing you what you don't want to do. And he knew better. He knew that. And since then has talked about, you know, just buying your singles, binding them, maybe not even worrying about graded. And that's still a whole nother topic, a whole nother video that I want to do. You know, when you're talking about these vintage sets, you can buy, like right now I'm collecting gold stars and crystals, and I want to eventually move into shinings, particularly first edition shinings. But when I'm buying these cards, it's fun. It's fun. It's a good experience. I'm like, wow, like I'm picking up one of my grails. But what's more than that is that I never had the experience of getting those cards myself, or even a story behind it of finding them at a garage sale or buying them out of a collection and getting them graded. For example, you know, besides actually just straight up buying the cards, I bought a collection, and it had this Gold Star Alakazam that I pretty much picked up the whole collection like for cheap, like $60. And now I have an Alakazam and a PSA 7 that I probably won't replace because it's honestly a strong enough grade. I don't really see any inherent flaws that make me dislike the card. And there's a story behind it, right? This is probably one of my favorite gold stars right now in terms of the value behind the memory of picking up this card, finding it in the collection, having a buddy of mine grade it, and it coming back with a pretty decent grade, and then getting it out of that collection, having that story, being a part of the journey itself. That's really important, guys, and I think it's easy to discount it. If you're purely going for value and trying to invest in the hobby, sure, just buy singles. If you have no attachment, if you want nothing to do with being sentimental or having memories, you know, fond memories of opening up packs, then just don't worry about it. But, you know, the other side of it is that opening a pack and pulling a card that is like a grail card or a card that you really like, even if it's a card you don't expect, having that experience itself of opening that pack and pulling that card is an amazing experience to have. So far, the best luck that I've had, we opened a jungle heavy pack on the channel and I got a pincer, and it is pristine. Am I going to get that pincer graded? No, it's just staying in my binder. It's a beautiful copy, and it's just not a card that I really would want to get graded. But in the future, if we open these base set packs and I pull Charizard, Blastoise, Venusaur, Nidoking, Raichu, Zapdos, you know, there's so many honestly good options from, you know, the 16 holos in base set. Like, I'll probably be happy with whatever I get. And I'll have the experience of pulling that card myself, which is amazing. You know, I saw this Instagram post. This collector had opened a Delta Species pack, which we've got our where is it? Where's the Delta Species? I got it somewhere over here. Do I not have that? Oh, here it is. Delta Species is down here. I'm gonna bring it up for you guys just because I never do that, but it's a treat to be able to look at these older boxes. But this is Delta Species, where you would get the Gold Star Metagross, and a lot of these EX, these e-readers, these EX series sets, not e-reader, these EX series sets, a lot of these, pretty much all of them, I think, have Gold Stars in them. And basically, out of 1 in every 3 boxes, you could get a Gold Star. Now, this is where it got a lot harder to get the cards that you wanted. And we'll turn this around. Got Dragonite on there. Here's the back of the box. But yeah, so he opened a Delta Species pack. He opened a Neo Discovery pack, which we've got that box right here. That's Neo Discovery. And what was the other one that he opened? EX Unseen Forces. This one's a little more battered, but I'll just show it to you guys anyway, so you get the idea. EX Unseen Forces. Got Typhlosion on there. This is where you would get the legendary dog trio. So the Gold Star, Raikou, Entei, Suicune. Also has a really awesome EX Umbreon in that set. But yeah, so he opened 3 of these packs, which as heavy packs could not, in my opinion, could not have been more. I should have looked in the last sold listings. But when I bought my base set heavy packs, they were around 400 or 500, maybe the upper 300s. I imagine it's very similar for other sets that came after base set. I would imagine they're not going to get too much more expensive. I know Aquapolis and Skyridge kind of have a premium. Those are really premium sets. I know Legendary Collection, I don't have the box down here, but it's up above me on the top shelf. I know Legendary Collection packs have a massive premium because they come with a guaranteed reverse holo card. But I imagine even at $500 per pack, this is what they pulled out of the pack. They pulled a Neo Discovery Umbreon. They pulled a Entei from Unseen Forces, and they a Gold Star Entei from Unseen Forces, which I can't reference all of these, but for the ones that I can reference, get this stack out here. Pulled this guy, Entei from Unseen Forces, Gold Star. And then I don't have a Neo Discovery Umbreon on hand. It's in my binder, but absolutely stunning card, beautiful card. So he pulled one of those, and then from Delta Species, he pulled. This is one of my favorite Gold Stars. I mean, they're all fantastic. But here's Metagross. This is my Metagross that I picked up for about $1,100. And this is a PSA 9. It's got a really nice little swirl right here. But this is the Metagross. Now, I have my Entei and my Metagross is PSA 9, right? I paid about $330 for Entei cash and $1,100 for Metagross, maybe like $1,050. It could have been $1,050. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, but it's a PSA 9. Nothing wrong with that. Beautiful card, about the same value as a perfectly mint raw copy. But this guy paid less than what I paid. I mean, I don't know how much the Unseen Forces, EX Unseen Forces pack was, but I imagine maybe it was, $300, $400, $500. So paid a little bit more than what my 9 costed. And then half the price of what my Metagross costed, probably $400 or $500 for that Delta Species heavy pack. But he got a Metagross, Entei, and that Umbreon, and they all graded PSA 10. Okay? PSA 10 Entei goes for a lot more than $300 that I got my 9 for, right? PSA 10 Entei, probably, if I'm correct on this, around the $1,500 to $2,000 mark. I don't know everything. I'm not an expert, but I know that they are somewhere, I know they're over $1,000 in PSA 10. Even though there's tons of them out there, they're still pulling premiums in PSA 10. So that was a huge win for him on that. And then he got a PSA 10 Metagross, which I think is actually a huge win in a PSA 10. I want to say thousands of dollars, maybe $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 in a PSA 10 for PSA 10 Metagross. Absolutely massive win. And on his Instagram, it has 99% of rippers quit until they hit the chase, and that's a bad piece of advice to take on if you're going with modern. But when it comes to vintage, I myself have thought a lot about, wouldn't you have had a much more fun experience buying a heavy pack, opening it on the channel? And as our channel grows, I think I'm going to head in that direction. Once I complete the Gold Stars that I have now, I think I'll just settle with buying 9s. But I think in the future, I'm going to start picking up packs of heavy packs from the eras that I like, EX series era and WotC era, and try and get heavies and open them up and see what we can pull. I've seen some crazy stuff open on YouTube. I don't watch a whole lot of opening videos, but I remember I was looking at Gold Star Rayquaza openings, and one of them was this guy with Leonhardt, and He's opened his packs. He's getting nothing. He's just opening heavy after heavy. He's getting hollows, but nothing in comparison to the Gold Star Rayquaza. At the end, he opens like the second to last pack or the last pack of EX Deoxys Heavy. And I think he spent like $500 to $700 on an EX Deoxys Heavy pack, something like that. Maybe even more. But he got Gold Star Rayquaza, and it was beautiful. Like that's like one of the most prime experiences you can possibly have. And it's crazy because these, like, there are openings still being had today. There's still product out there. There's still heavy packs that people have never had the guts to open. And that's something that I honestly want to start doing. I want to start opening those heavy packs. This is not advice for modern Pokemon. This just does not worth it. It's not worth it. It does not work really with modern Pokemon. I've had terrible experience opening modern. I've already had better experience opening the couple vintage packs I've had over modern. It's just to have the guarantee when you're opening a certain weighted pack, to have the guarantee that there's going to be a holo, and there's not always the guarantee, right? There's a lot of scamming out there. There's a lot of resealing going on. But if you think about it, back in the day, even if someone resealed a Pokemon pack, but put the hit back inside, but it wasn't the hit that they wanted, but they put the hit back inside or something like that, I imagine people are opening resealed product today and pulling hits still and still making out on it. Because cards are worth so much more today than they used to be. Yeah, it's amazing to see people pulling incredibly valuable cards like that. And I've kind of just gotten in a mode of I'm only buying singles. I'm only buying single Grail cards. I'm taking the risk entirely out of the equation. But the premium sometimes on buying these cards is so ridiculous that it's like, yeah, it's no wonder why you would want to open heavy vintage packs, because it's still cheaper and you'll have the experience yourself and it's your card. And while that stuff might not matter to everybody, it matters to me. I want to pull the cards myself. I want to have the experience of pulling that Grail myself. And I'm not going to have that experience with some of my favorite cards. I'm just not. Unless this channel grows like a rocket ship, I mean, it's very unlikely, or unless the bar that I own and operate, if that does really well, which we've had really good events coming up, things have been tightening up a little bit. It seems like things are on the up and up. If that continues to do really well, then, screw it. Maybe I can start hunting all these, cards that I want to pull myself and just do it the long, hard way, Maybe that's the way to go about it. But for right now, I've still got to stay safe. I've got to, stick to collecting singles with modern and singles with vintage alike. But yeah, I think it's an important topic that may seem redundant to some, but it's not like I'm saying buy singles for everything. It's very specific. Like if you're looking for a very rare Grail card, like first edition Charizard, for example. That card is, $300,000, $250,000, $200,000, but a first edition heavy pack might be $5,000 to $10,000. That's actually, with a 1 in 16 chance you get that card, that's actually one of those situations where, like, that might be the only way I'm ever going to get a card like that. Like, that's on my list. Like, I want to own a PSA 10 first edition Charizard at some point in my lifetime. I want to own that card. Even if it took to a point where I couldn't afford buying the packs and risking it, but I was willing to sell all of my cards, like all of my nice cards, my cars, my watch, like everything that I have left that's like nice in my life, like things that I've collected over the course of my life. I would be willing to liquidate a lot of that stuff to pick up a card like that. Charizard isn't the rarest thing in the world. There's 700 and odd some PSA 9 first edition Charizards, but there's only 123 PSA 10 first edition Charizards in the world, from what I understand. Yeah, you've got CGC pristine 10s or just gem mint 10s. You've got Beckett gold labels, and 9.5s, but it's just there's only so many of those PSA options out there, and it's because the grading tier, it gets so expensive with PSA. It's no wonder why there's only so many PSA 10s out there. Also, and this is another topic between PSA 9 and PSA 10 for a different day, for a different video, but I do believe that PSA is guarding their 10s for certain cards. I do believe they don't want to shake up the market too much, and certain cards are making it really, really hard for those cards to come in and still hit 10s. I don't think that applies with stuff like base set unlimited. I think they're just letting, unlimited cards hit 10s and come in. So I think if I open these base set unlimited packs and I get a Charizard card, I think there's a high chance, unless it's off center, or has a pretty gnarly nick on the back, I think it's a pretty good chance that I'll end up getting it graded if I do get a Charizard card and it'll hit a 10. And that'll be an amazing moment in my life. I just really, really want a Charizard and a 10. And I want to be able to pull that card. And I think I've been holding on to these packs for such a long time because I've been waiting for the point where I have enough people on the channel that will actually appreciate and enjoy me opening packs like that. I don't want to open this stuff and it just gets kind of lost in the history of YouTube and the backlog archives of YouTube. I want it to be a video to remember, So if 5,000 subscribers, we're like 800 and change away from 5,000 subscribers. At that point, we're going to open one of those packs. Maybe we get a Poliwrath, maybe we get a Poliwrath. Maybe we get a Ninetales. Maybe we get, Hitmonchan. Maybe it's not, exactly what I expected or what I wanted, and I'm going to have to take that risk. But regardless, I'm going to have minty cards for my base set binder, and that's all fine. And it's going to be an amazing experience. So I look forward to that. But I would say, if you're looking at really high-end cards, out of these older sets, and you're looking at a seller who's auctioning off packs or selling packs, and they have really good reputation, or even, people have left feedback, hey, I opened a pack that was a heavy, I got a really, really good hit out of it, I've had a good experience here, or just one of those situations where it's a, old couple or something like me. The packs that I got from was from an old couple that actually video recorded breaking open a base set unlimited box and then weighing out, or auctioning off all the packs. And I was lucky enough to randomly get most of their heavies. Super sweet couple. Hopefully they're still watching the channel. But yeah, if you can just talk to people, and just work with, legitimate sources or just genuine people that are good people that just found this stuff, that just want to get some money back on it. I would say go for it, because you're only going to get so many of those chances, and eventually there are not going to be any of these vintage packs laying around. They are all going to be gone at some point, other than the people that are stockpiling vintage packs or collecting sealed vintage boxes. Eventually, it's going to be gone. Eventually, that supply is going to be gone. So it's kind of like, I feel like with more people opening product than ever before on YouTube, streaming, Twitch, rip and ship, whatever, I think it's right now, it's like the clock is ticking to open up vintage packs and enjoy that experience while it lasts still. And if you're on a super tight budget and you really, or not even a super tight budget, if you just have a budget for the card you want, very specific card, and you can't have anything other than that card, you absolutely need that card in your collection, you're very picky about exactly what you want, then go for that card. But if you're opening a set and you know that you'd be fairly happy with whatever you get in that set, but you want to at least try, I'd say go for it. I'd say take the chance and go for it. Now, this does not mean go on a rampage and go buying every single heavy pack that you can get your hands on. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying maybe every once in a while, take a risk, take a chance, take a leap of faith, and see what happens. Because I've seen so many stories, more often than not now, that the channel's grown and there's more people in the Discord and more people DMing me on Instagram. Should I open this pack? I've had this pack for 4 years, and I always thought it was cool, but I was too nervous to open it up. I say go for it. I say go for it, and enjoy the experience while you can. I'm going to try and do more of that on the channel moving forward, but mainstream advice is to just buy the cards that you like, especially from Modern, because the pull rates are ridiculous, and I myself have had terrible experiences opening a lot of Sword and Shield product. So I would not advise on trying to chase those chase cards. But like, hey, you never know. You know, it might be worth a shot to open up your packs. I assume that eventually we'll open every single sleeved pack that I have on the displays in this room. But it's not something that I'm proud of, and it's not something that I want to promote. I don't want to promote people, you know, thinking that they're going to get their chase cards and opening up stuff and then just getting nothing and getting really badly burned on product. Evolving Skies is a perfect example because these booster boxes are way too expensive right now. And, you know, I don't care what happens with them. They're probably going to keep going up, in my opinion, because it's an iconic set, but like it's a garbage set to open up. It really is a garbage set to open up. So many people have just burned money on this set opening it up. And I've got like 11 booster boxes in my closet of Evolving Skies, and I highly doubt I'm ever going to open any of them. I highly doubt it. Like I want to open a box like that for the channel, but I've already got, I sent off, where is it? I bought these as raw cards, sent them off. They both hit 10s. That was really awesome. And I'm very grateful for that. But I'll leave my, my Sun and Moon cards as another example of modern cards that I picked up. This is a perfect example of me practicing what I preach. These were not raw. These were pre-graded, but one of them got graded by a friend of mine. I bought it off him. I didn't see a point to really trying to go after a 10 for these cards, even though a 10 is very available of these cards. But, you know, these are some of the most iconic cards from Sun and Moon era, some of the nicest cards. I think other than these, I really want the, there's a Rainbow Rare Charizard that I really want. That card's sick. There's the Blastoise and Piplup. That card is phenomenal. But there's not a lot of Sun and Moon cards that I really want. Like, honestly, it's Gengar and Mimikyu and Latios Latias. Like, these are some of my favorites from the set. At some point, I may go after 10s, but honestly, not really worth it to me. I traded up for this one at Collecticon. Instead of paying an arm and a leg for it, it's slightly off-center. But as you can see on the back, there's literally no whitening on this card at all. I'm really proud of both of these cards because they're both off-center. And I think that bothers a lot of mainstream collectors, but I really could care less that it's off-center. I want a super clean card that isn't bent or has any dings, that has no whitening on the back. That's ideal for me over centering. And these could even, in my opinion, be sent back in later on to be regraded and hit 10s still. Grading is very subjective, so I think buying modern 9s can be a really good strategy in the long term, just for the value that you're getting out of them and the fact that you're getting them graded for the raw card price. What's not to like about that? You're getting them, they're slabbed already, they're protected, and you're not paying this absolute premium. I think PSA 9 is great, but that's for another video. This video has gone on long enough. Let me know what you guys think about, you know, going after specific singles versus ripping them to go after them. For me, I have very specific collection goals, so I'm still trying to complete the Crystal set. I'm still trying to complete the Gold Star set, and then I'm recollecting first edition base set. I'm selling all of my first edition base set cards to go after them in 9s, and then maybe someday I can upgrade those to 10s. Same with the Gold Stars, same with the Crystals. I think eventually I will end up looking for buying 10s. But I think before doing that, it's almost more likely that I will try my hand at finishing these collections up and just buying heavy booster packs and trying to see if I could pull the cards I want and then grade them. And then I pulled them myself and they hit a 10. That is a trifecta of, you know, just excitement and amazement and shocking surprise. Like, you just can't get that out of buying a card. That's all I'm saying. It's just different. Anyways, peace out, guys. Have a fantastic day.